The time has come to finally address the number one question, the number one sort of advice that I get asked to give, and that is, how do I pick up girls? Hi, my name is Eden Middleman, and I am the host here at Erotic the Brand. I miss you guys. It's been a minute. I've been trying to film this video and do this podcast for a hot minute, and I just didn't feel like it was good enough. There's so much to say. There's also not much to say at the same time. It was very difficult for me to do this, but I feel like I finally just gathered my thoughts, and this will be part one of many of this pickup series. I'm going to divide it into how to pick up girls online. That's Instagram, that's dating apps, as well as in person. So this video is going to be a hybrid of both very basics, the things you need to know, essentially the mentality and the thought process and little baby steps before you even approach somebody that will set you up for success. Regardless of what you all have been taught and regardless of what you think, every girl is different, and so the slide-in is going to have to be different. There is no hack, there is no rule, no matter what anyone fucking sells you online, all of that bullshit that all girls want the same thing, that all girls will react the same way, that girls want just this, blank, whatever. It's not true. What has worked on me has not and will not work on my best friends, has not and will not work on a girl that's watching this, perhaps the girl you're seeking. So, when I try to give examples, a lot of the times they are coming from what's worked on me because that's all I can speak on. But I've done my research. I've spoken to a lot of girls different than me, and I have come to a consensus generally of what makes a woman comfortable. The common theme and common denominator about anything that has to do with dating is it's all about you. Where's your mindset at? What do you want from this? Why are you approaching her over the hundreds of other girls that are at this bar? Why are you interested in sliding into her DMs? What about her is intriguing to you? And what do you want from this? Come in with a goal so that you can tailor the pickup and the conversation following the pickup to meet that goal, to go towards that goal, to be consistent with what you want, whether that's a phone number, whether that's a fuck, and whether that's a chance to go on a date with them, or all of the above. Another side note before I get into details: if you get rejected, if this person is not interested in you, rejection equals redirection. I've spoken about this before. I have said it on my TikTok lives that I do on a daily fucking basis. And I've told everybody that I know that just because it doesn't work out with one person doesn't mean a method doesn't work, doesn't mean that you are flawed, doesn't mean that she's a bitch. It just means that you two are not vibing. And you are not going to be everyone's cup of tea, nor should you want to be everyone's cup of tea. No. Not everybody owes you shit, okay? And you cannot always get what you want in life. And you don't even know them well enough to know if that's exactly what you want. My number one rule before picking up a girl is watch her, observe her. If you're in public, does she look like she's open for business to discuss, Does she look like she's down to have a conversation? If she's balls deep in a heavy conversation with somebody that she's with, chances are it's probably not your time, my man, right? It's all about reading the room. This also includes the online fucking chat rooms, the DMs, Instagrams. Is there something that you can even slide in with? Right? I personally am not a fan of cold slide-ins or cold pickup lines or cheesy pickup lines that have nothing to do with that person. Your success rate will be higher if you tailor your pickup line or your slide-in to that specific person. Number one thing is, does what you're about to say sound like you can say it to every other person? If yes, that is not a strong slide-in. That is not a strong pickup line. You want to make sure that it is tailored to the experience that you two are having, the place that you are at, whatever it is that you're trying to, slide in on her Instagram, on her Hinge profile, on whatever dating app you're on. The most successful slide-ins and the most successful pickup lines are ones that have some sort of relevancy to that person or to the moment or, whatever you picked up on. When you show that you've observed somebody and noticed something, that goes a very long way and actually makes you stand out from the rest of the 800 other guys that have approached her that night, that will approach her that night, or that have slid in her DMs. You want to stand out. That is why a lot of you guys get upset because I slid into her Instagram story story and there was no response. Well, it was probably a hi, how are you? It was probably a heart eye emoji. It was probably something stupid that warrants no response or that is boring. A hi, how are you, right? Or hi, my name is, let me introduce myself, isn't super successful anymore. Sometimes it works, worst case scenario, and you can pull these things from your back pocket if you absolutely are dying to speak to this said person, but you can't find anything to speak on. Fine. At that point, I would say it's better to shoot your shot than not. Or if there is no opportunity, wait for an opportunity. If you are online and you are watching their stories consistently, wait for another day, wait for an appropriate time. So you slide in strong rather than come in with something weak and then no response, and then you try again and now you just look thirsty and it's kind of embarrassing. I would go in with something strong, do it with your chest, and if it doesn't work out, move on. Then, just do it out of desperation, because it really translates as desperation. And that's weak, and it's a turnoff, to be honest with you. The reason why I tell people to avoid the hi, how are you? Or what are you doing here? Or like, can I buy you a drink? Is because nobody actually gives a fuck. Nobody actually, if you think about this, nobody actually gives a fuck about small talk. Where are you from? No, these are the questions I will ask and genuinely care to know the answer. Once we've already broken the ice and have some sort of connection, then I'm curious to know, more about you in that way. Hi, how are you? Or where are you from? Or blah, blah, blah. But you have to first grab my interest. So now you're probably asking, well, how? Well, what? Use your brain cells. Okay, creativity is number one. And this is where a lot of guys get upset, because you don't realize the amount of work it actually takes to try and get someone's attention. And you're surprised when it does take you a few minutes more than what you're used to. If you want to be successful at sliding in, it takes some thought. People that act like they can slide in or they can pick up girls no problem have practiced. Don't let their smoothness and their confidence fool you. They have practiced. They have the gift of the gab, perhaps. They have worked on that skill. And in order for you to be good at picking up girls, or at least conversing with them and creating some sort of open communication with them, you need to figure out your angle, your personality, your humor, something that you can bring in that is unique to you that'll make you stand out. Because chances are, if you're approaching her out and about, you are not the first person to have already approached her. And a lot of girls actually are already kind of annoyed at that point, because some of them just want to be out to enjoy their time. So keep that in mind. That's why reading the room is really important. That's why don't come in when you feel like she's made zero eye contact. That's why social cues and body language is super important. If she hasn't made eye contact with you the whole night, she either doesn't know you exist, or if she's made eye contact with you, turned around and hasn't looked at you since, then she's probably not interested, right? These are little social cues that for the majority of us is pretty universal. If I was attracted to somebody and I made eye contact with him, I will find another excuse to turn around and look at you. Pretend like I'm looking at a picture, pretend like I'm looking at what's going on, pretend like I'm looking for my waitress, pretend like I'm going to the washroom. Girls will do these things. You just have to be observant enough to notice these things. And if you do lock eyes, a small smile and look away. These are really great kind of like teasy, building up moments that show that you're interested, but also that you're not a freak. Once you've gotten sort of that validation that, okay, she saw me, she's been looking at me too, this is a good sign, then you can make your approach. But before you approach, you also have to figure out, what am I going to say? It's always good to comment on something externally, not about their looks. Okay, a lot of girls are used to being called beautiful and you're so pretty and I couldn't help myself, and that's cheesy, that's tacky. A lot of girls don't like that. Sometimes it comes across that you feel like you can just compliment her and she's gonna be down for you. Girls don't necessarily always need that validation, and when you come in with that kind of energy, it can be read the wrong way. Come in less cocky, come in with a soft, humble, easy energy to work with, because that's true masculinity and that will make a woman feel more safe. So what I mean by that is, don't come in and be like, hey baby, and like whatever, very hyper masculine, because a girl will immediately feel like the need to protect herself or shut down when a guy is approaching her like that, or is like, can I buy you a drink, or like really abrasive and out of nowhere. Warm up to that, right? I would never recommend a guy to say, can I buy you a drink, as an opening line, because you are a fucking idiot, right? You buying her a drink, what that says is, if I buy you a drink, you're forced to talk to me for the next few minutes till we get our drinks. And then because I bought you a drink, if you're nice, right? This is what you guys think. If you're nice, you owe me your time and you're kind of obligated to me for the rest of the night because I bought you a drink, right? Because it's an exchange of something. You don't verbally say that, but it's this non-verbal agreement that a lot of people think buying a drink holds. And if that girl grabs a drink and walks away, she's not a bitch, you're an idiot. So don't buy her a drink at the beginning. Always wait till later once you have a good vibe, and right? But to slide in with the buying a drink, to slide in with a compliment right away, that's not unique, that's not different, and that rubs a lot of girls the wrong way, and girls are getting less and less patient with that shit because that's all they hear. No guy comes in with something unique. If you want to compliment something, you can be honest about what you're attracted to, you know. And I'm not saying like go in full blazing guns and say your tits are massive and I'm so down, you know what I mean? No, you can say your energy when you walked in the room was like incredible. And then just start a conversation that way. Now, that's not super strong because, again, it's kind of like the basics of being like, you know, I couldn't help myself. I wanted to come over and whatever. This is worst case scenario if you're just drawn to her energy and you've observed her and you have nothing to talk about. What's really nice is when you pick up people in places where there is more to discuss rather than a bar. So, for example, a bookstore, she's holding a book. If you've read it or if you haven't read it, you can kind of start a conversation about something other than you two. This relieves the stress, the anxiety, the pressure of it being like a you and you conversation and like a forceful connection or you trying to hit on her, and removes that, and it seems just a little bit more easy. You're talking about something else, which is always nice. That's why I don't believe that picking up girls at bars and clubs is ever really successful for something other than a fuck. Sometimes it does transpire, and that happens from time to time. If you guys both mutually have been looking at each other, then great. But if you're really kind of coming in with, you know, I've observed her, I don't really know 100% if she's into me, maybe I need to break the ice with a conversation. You want to be somewhere where you have something to talk about other than yourselves. And this leads me into online DMs and sliding in. Think about it this way. Girls get fucking bombarded with DMs on a daily basis. You're hot, baby. I'm going to promise you my fucking motherland. I'm, you know, this. Here's my fucking left nut. Like, you know, you're so beautiful, stunning, baby. Can I take you out? Heart emojis. Like all of this shit. When you come in doing the same thing, do you really think that's going to stand out in her overflowing DM bin? No, right? That's why I always say you want to come in with something a little bit quirky and a little bit different. Watch her stories. That is the most organic, in the moment way to virtually slide in, because she's posting something in real time or whatever, and she's choosing what she's posting, and she obviously wants some form of attention if she's posting it. Sorry, I'm not trying to come across in any way, shape, or form. You share the things that you like. You have made the decision to click post. There is a reason you want to share it with people. So utilize that to your advantage. Okay, so she's posting a lot about her dog. Can I do something with the dog thing? You know, instead of saying, what's your dog's name, or your dog is so cute? Does that warrant a conversation? Is that a conversation starter? Start thinking, why am I not saying, hi, how are you when I'm sliding in? Because I know what the answer is going to be. Good, how are you? Good. End of conversation. You see how that does not get you anywhere. So you need to think a few steps ahead and generally create an educated sort of guess as to what this is going to make her say. And how can I lead her in the right direction? This isn't necessarily manipulation. I know it kind of sounds like it, but it's you being an educated communicator and knowing what an open-ended question is, what an open-ended pickup line is, versus what a conversation killer is. The hi, how are you? What's your dog name? My dog's name is this. What's your dog breed? This and this. Oh, great. I wanted one. Great. I love my dogs so much, but if somebody starts talking about my dogs, I'm like, yeah, like I love them. Like, you know, like it is what it is. Like that's it, you know, even as a dog lover. So that really, I don't think is a successful way of doing that. So what else in the background that you can find is funny or cool or interesting? You know, oh my God, I was at that park the other day. Be careful, there's fucking coyotes, you know, like whatever. Say something else, make a conversation. One guy did this to me and I thought it was just kind of funny, but it might rub some girls the wrong way. But I think he kind of got my sense of humor, because when I post, I'm trying to post personality-like things. So, you know, I was taking a picture and I was like looking good, right? It was kind of like a stunty picture and my cupboard was open in the background. He's just like, ma'am, you might want to close the cupboard in the background, or like, you know, next time trying to take a picture, you know, like something stupid like that I thought was hilarious. And I'm like, wow, like that's what you're looking at? And the guy was like, yeah. So basically making it seem like, you know, he's not putting the attention on focusing on my physical, you know, vibe and what I'm wearing and whatever. And he was avoiding that because he knows it doesn't really work. And he knows that I do get DMs about my appearance, and so do so many girls. So he was like, yeah, I'm not falling into that. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to just compliment your looks because, you know, I want to have a decent conversation, and then I'll compliment something else, you know, your personality. Show her that you care about more than just her looks, and don't draw so much attention to that. When guys compliment left, right, and center, it's cringe. Okay, we appreciate it, but it's also cringe. And there's not much I can say to that besides thank you. And I don't want to be pressured to say you too, because maybe I'm not into you like that right now because I don't fucking know you. You know, think about it a little bit. Think about how it might be to receive a message like this. Try and pretend like you're a girl for 2.5 seconds. I know it's so difficult for you, and I know it's two different worlds, but sometimes just trying to put in a little bit of effort thinking about how this could go, you know, the good and the bad and what you can improve on based off of the imaginary scenario you've created in your head is beneficial. This is what I like to call batting practice. Even if it's not successful, the more you set yourself up, the more you observe, the more information you have, which is so easy nowadays because we all have social media, the higher the chances of you scoring is. So let's think of it sports terminology. Basketball, right? Like, you won't be able to make your three-pointer shot if you don't know how far the net is, if you don't know, you know, your hand placements, if you don't know how much force to put in, if you don't know how much bounce the ball will have from the backboard. You know, like, you need this information to be able to correctly figure out how to shoot, right? How to aim, what works for you. And that's with practice, and that's also with information, right? So utilize that. People give out more information than we like to really believe because it requires our observation skills. Like I said, at the end of the day, dating, picking up girls has a lot to do with us and our skills, more so than anybody else, right? We can blame, oh, people suck, or oh, everybody rejects me no matter what else can you be doing that might change it up? Hold yourself accountable, right? Reflect, but not in a self-hating way, in a, okay, well, you know, this is my strong suit. This kind of worked, but then I killed it by saying that, you know? So maybe this type of tone or this underlying sexual innuendo doesn't work for girls. Speaking of sexual innuendos, don't come in with something sexual right away. The hottest thing, and most girls will agree, is when a guy is low-key sexual and not outwardly sexual. I want to have to think about whether or not that was sexual rather than be like, oh, ew, you know? And a lot of dating coaches have argued with me on this and said that, you know, you want to come in with something a little bit more sexy so that she doesn't think you're interested in being friends. Sorry, my man. Most girls, we look at you as whether or not we can be more than friends first right off the bat. And then if we say no, then we look at the platonic side of things. And by the time that even happens, we must be in a conversation. And then once you're in conversation, you can start being a little bit more sultry with it, but not outwardly sexual, because when you first come in with something sexual, it is actually a turn off. Women are also very guarded when they get approached or even with DMs because it happens a lot, it happens often, and it happens whether we want it to happen or not. A lot of it is against our will, and that's why looking at body language and getting some sort of gesture or confirmation that it's cool to do so or it's the right time to do so is important. And if you don't get that, I'll give you one little tip and trick that has worked and I think is really great and respectful is, if you are out and about and you're at a bar, for example, a great way to get a girl's attention and to see whether or not she's actually interested in making conversation with you is if you send her a drink. This is different than what I said earlier about do not buy a girl a drink at the beginning, because you're just being an idiot and you're setting yourself up for being used, okay? She doesn't need to talk to you. She doesn't owe you shit. So don't think that the drink is going to keep her there longer. And when a guy immediately says, can I buy you a drink? I'm like, bro, you don't even fucking know me. Get the fuck out of here. Like, is that what you do? You spend like $6 on a fucking beer or like a drink and hope that like that's worth my time? Fuck you, you know? So anyways, sending her a drink is you do this when you have not gotten any sort of cue or validation or any sort of vibe where she hasn't noticed you the whole night. You tell the waitress or waiter, hey, listen, can you get her another one of whatever she's drinking? And just I put it on my bill, say it's on me, just let her know it's from me. I just want to do something nice and that's it. Just want to get her attention. That's all. And you stay in your seat, my friends. Okay? When she gets the drink, how she maneuvers and what she decides to do, then will say a lot about, you know, whether or not she's interested in you. She'll look over and she'll decide if she's feeling it or if she's not, right? She'll cheers you and maybe when she leaves, she'll come up to you or whatever, you know. Just give her space. And this is nice because that's really what it says is, I respect that you are out. I respect your time, and I don't want to invade whatever it is that is going on, or who you're hanging out with, or whatever. I want you to notice me, and I want to say, hey, but I also want to put the ball in your court, and I want you to decide what you want to do with it. I'm making it known that I'm interested, and now you can decide if you want to play into that or if you don't. And I think that gives people outs and breathing room. You know, girls can do this to guys as well. And I think that's such a class act move. It's not about the money. It's not about anything like that. It's about the gesture. And that's a really sneaky way, without even having to say anything or do anything really, to kind of read somebody out and to tell them that you're interested in them. And if she turns around and smiles and says thank you towards the end of the night, if she has not approached you, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with going up and just saying, you know, I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. Take care. And, you know, that's another opportunity for her to say, hey, wait, you know, what's your name? Oh my God, thank you for the drink, and blah, blah, blah. That's happened to me before. And that's how I asked a guy for his number. Online, it's a different story. Online, you can't just send them some virtual drink. So that requires you to be attentive on what they're posting. But again, the plus of online sliding in and pickup lines is you have content and information. You have their feed. Take more than 5 seconds. Okay, on a lot of dating apps, you guys just slide into whoever's pretty. You don't even scroll through the profile. You don't even read the prompts. People are willingly choosing to say what they want to say and post it so that you can read it. People are willingly posting specific pictures so that you can look at them and take whatever you want from them. Like, people are doing this with intent. People normally put a lot more thought than they want to admit to what they post and how they appear on social media. That's the information that they want you to know, and that's the information they want you to play with. This is a test of your personality, of your creativity, and your social skills, and it's important to practice them. Learn from your mistakes, learn from things that didn't work out, and understand that sometimes you could be so proud of how you picked up somebody, but they just didn't vibe because they're not interested, and that's okay. This will help you build your confidence and self-esteem, and help you deal with rejection, and help you sharpen up your social skills, and help with your pickup game, and all of that shit. Dating teaches you more about yourself and provides you with skills and tools that you need in other situations that go beyond dating, romance, love, sex, and all of that stuff. Figure out your narrative when you pick up girls. Figure out your personality. Figure out what makes you unique. Run with it, and know that if somebody doesn't appreciate it, somebody else will eventually. You know, you are not everyone's cup of tea. There is a lid to every pot, though. There will always be. There's plenty of fish in the sea, regardless of how you want to look at it. Go in with a positive mindset. Don't let things deter you from stopping. Pay more attention, be more observant, and be creative, right? Have fun with it. Don't take it too seriously. Be kind to everybody. You don't know what they're going through. Handle things with poise and grace. I hope that this gave you guys just a general, like, do and don't, a general sort of mindset switch, a decent foundation to go off of. I hope this got you thinking. I hope this got you observing more and maybe starting to brainstorm some creative things, and choosing when a good opportunity is and what a bad opportunity is for picking up somebody or sliding into somebody's DMs. I am going to create a segment. What would really help me, though, to make it successful and beneficial for all of you that are watching is if you leave comments about any specific questions or hypotheticals or scenarios that you've struggled with or that you want me to touch on. Thank you guys for being here and for listening and for coming in with an open mind. I appreciate you watching. I love you guys. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and hit the bell for the notifications so that you don't miss any of the future videos a part of this segment. Make sure you're following me on Instagram. Check out my website. I offer one-to-one services, and I have some really cool merch. Beautiful. And I will see you back here very soon. Take care.